In the craggy, salt-sprayed cliffs of the northern reach, where the ocean churns with the prehistoric, rhythmic fury of 1,000 forgotten storms, there stood the Lighthouse of Aethelgard. It was an ancient, gravity-defying spire of white stone and obsidian, but it didn't guard a traditional harbor, and it didn't warn of jagged rocks. It was a beacon of cognitive clarity, a legendary structure that broadcast a metaphysical signal across a kingdom perpetually besieged by a thick, magical gray fog known as the Muddle. The Muddle was not made of water vapor or sea mist. It was a dense, cloying atmosphere composed of the world's collective mental exhaust, unfinished thoughts, half-remembered anxieties, the spectral echoes of yesterday's arguments, and the low-frequency hum of a billion petty worries. To walk through the streets of the kingdom was to be bombarded by invisible mental static. People lived in a permanent state of gray. They forgot why they entered rooms. They argued over things they didn't care about. They made impulsive decisions driven by a phantom sense of urgency that had no source. Kael was the current keeper of the first light. His job was deceptively simple but functionally impossible. Every single morning, before the first sliver of the sun broke the horizon, he had to clear the lens of the world. The morning siege of the soul. Each night, as the kingdom slept, the Muddle would rise from the valley and settle upon the great, multifaceted glass lens of the lighthouse. It would coat the glass in a layer of sticky, black soot, the accumulated mental debris of a million people. If Kael failed to scrub this lens to a state of absolute transparency before the first ray of dawn hit the glass, the light would not pierce the fog. Instead, the light would be refracted and shattered into a million chaotic directions, actually amplifying the confusion of the kingdom below. But Kael was only human, and he woke up every morning with his own internal muddle. Before his eyes even opened, his mind would begin to ping with the weight of the coming day. It was a relentless, internal ticker tape of reactive static that threatened to paralyze him before he even reached for his boots. The oil reserves for the lamp are running low. What if the shipment is late and the light goes dark on my watch? The iron stairs in the north wing are rusting through. I am failing in my stewardship. Did I offend the village elder during yesterday's trade? His silence felt heavy, like a judgment. What if the muddle grows so thick today that my light simply isn't enough to save them? I am tired. I am alone. Does this repetitive, grueling labor even matter in the grand design of the stars? In his early years as the keeper, Kael would succumb to the panic of the morning. He would bolt out of bed, his heart racing with reactive anxiety. He would sprint up the winding stairs, his mind already 3 hours ahead of his body, and begin scrubbing the lens frantically. But because his own internal lens was clouded with stress, he worked with a clumsy, heavy hand. He would miss small spots of soot. He would leave oily streaks of his own anxiety on the glass. The resulting beacon would flicker and pulse unevenly, and the people in the valley below would spend their day in a state of twitchy, reactive chaos. The stillness before the steel, the silver basin. After a year of near failure, Kael realized a fundamental law of the universe. You cannot clean a window with dirty water. He could not clear the world's mind until he had mastered the architecture of his own. He realized that the quality of his output, his light, was entirely dependent on the quality of his internal state at the moment of execution. He developed a ritual he called the Hour of the Silver Basin. Now, when Kael wakes, he does not look at the oil logs. He does not check the weather vanes. He does not even look out the window to see how thick the muddle has become. Instead, he sits in a high-backed wooden chair in a room of total silence, facing a simple silver basin filled with ice-cold spring water. 1. The drainage, the brain dump. He closes his eyes and visualizes a heavy brass plug being pulled at the base of his skull. He allows every urgent thought, every what if, and every I should have to drain out of his mind and into the floor. He doesn't try to solve the problems, he simply acknowledges they exist and tells them, I see you, but you do not own this hour. You are data, not destiny. 1. The cold shock, the hard reset. He plunges his face into the silver basin. The freezing water acts as a physiological override for his nervous system. It triggers the mammalian dive reflex, instantly lowering his heart rate and snapping his consciousness out of the dream fog and into the searing, absolute present. It is the death of the yesterday self, and the birth of the now self. 2. The single intent, the North Star. While his face is still wet and his senses are heightened, he chooses one word for the day. Not a task list, not a goal, just a singular frequency. Patience, precision, sovereignty, grace. Only after this ritual does he climb the 300 winding stairs to the lens room. With a mind as clear as the spring water, his movements are no longer frantic, they are rhythmic and intentional. He sees every microscopic smudge of soot. He polishes the glass until it isn't just clean, it becomes invisible. When the sun finally crests the horizon, the light hits the lens and explodes in a singular, piercing beam of pure white fire. For 50 miles in every direction, the Muddle vanishes instantly. For 1 hour of perfect clarity, the people of the kingdom see exactly who they are, what they love, and what they must do. Blank, underscore, blank. The anatomy of the modern Muddle. We live in an age of the digital Muddle. Most people wake up and immediately pollute their internal lens before they've even taken a full, conscious breath. By checking your phone in the first 60 seconds of the day, you are inviting 1,000 strangers into your sanctuary to tell you what to worry about. You are looking at other people's agendas, email, other people's curated highlights, social media, or the world's collective trauma, the news. Before you have even put your feet on the floor, you have allowed a thick layer of digital soot to be wiped across your mental glass. You spend the rest of your day trying to navigate your life through the streaks of other people's opinions and breaking crises. You are not acting, you are merely reacting to the soot. To keep your lighthouse piercing the fog of the world, you must adopt the Keeper's protocol, the zero input buffer. For the first 30 minutes of your day, your brain must be a read-only device. No external inputs, no scrolling. This is the period where you solidify your own identity before the world tries to give you one. The internal lens polish. Practice brain dumping. Take a physical notebook and write down every lingering worry from yesterday and every fear for today. Once it is on the paper, it is out of the lens. It is stored data, not active interference. The intentional frequency. If you do not choose the word or the energy for your day, the world will choose it for you. Usually, that word will be anxiety, urgency, or comparison. Choose your own blank, underscore, blank. Your call to action. You are the keeper of the only beacon that matters, your own consciousness. If your morning is smudged, your entire life will be a blurry reaction to external forces. You owe it to your kingdom, your family, your work, and your future to be clear. Your challenge. Tomorrow morning, I want you to perform a first light protocol. 1. Phone isolation. Do not touch your smartphone for the first 30 minutes. Use a traditional alarm clock if you have to. If you must use your phone for an alarm, turn it off immediately without checking notifications. 2. The brain drain. Write down the 5 things you are carrying from yesterday on a scrap of paper. Then, fold the paper and put it away. 3. Choose your word. Before you speak to another person or open a screen, identify the one quality you want to embody today, e.g., calm, focused, kind. Say it out loud. Notice the difference. Observe how your light pierces through the day's tasks when you aren't fighting through the soot of everyone else's noise. Would you like me to help you design a custom morning sovereignty plan to protect your first hour, or perhaps provide a checklist to help you stay accountable?